guys, this is Gwen, your host for today. We're here at Gold Coast Beach Resort to check out Desecrator live from Australia. Stay tuned. Yeah guys, we have Desecrator here in Singapore right now. Say hi to your fans.
Hey Singapore, good to be here. Oh yeah.
We're glad that you were able to do the interview for now. And you've been to Southeast Asian countries, so how's your tour so far?
Our tour has been amazing. Our tour has been great. We've had really good responses from crowds, and the shows have been really good. We've been shown some amazing hospitality in every place we've played, which is great. We just came off spending 4 days in the Philippines, which was fantastic. They looked after us like kings. Shows were great, so I should shout out to you, Ignite It, for doing that. Yeah. But and we're stoked to be here. Our last show tonight in Singapore. We don't want it to end. We want to thrash till death.
Tiring too, right?
Nah, tiring. It's beer, more beer.
Okay, so you've been to Bali, Bangkok, 3 places in Philippines, and lastly Singapore.
Lastly Singapore.
How do you find the fans in Asia?
Fans in Asia are awesome. The fans in Asia are crazy, and I've never been in so many photos in my life. You're all insane. You own too many camera phones. You're making us poses. It's hard.
Okay, so let's start from your album. It's called Live Till Death.
Yeah.
So your songs are raw, live, straight in your face recording. Tell us more about it.
Well, we decided to do Live Till Death as a live gig because it took, we thought, our material and our music back to the roots of where thrash came from. Thrash, the word thrash, if you think about it, it comes from a movement, it comes from an energy, it comes from something you do. It's like it's a verb, not a noun, you know. So recording live on stage to us and doing it to a crowd in our own town and capturing that moment was something that we thought would be way more real and true than doing a recording in a studio, where these days you can do anything in a studio. It's fantastic that you can do anything in a studio, but it kind of loses the point. Like, too much production means that anyone can have a hand at it, you know, whereas we really wanted to be honest and say, this is what we are every night, this is why we do it. So that was the idea behind it.
So why call it Live Till Death?
Live Till Death? Well, it's a live album and we're thrashing till death. It was pretty simple.
And so how you met Harris Johns? Is it tough working with him?
Harris Johns was amazing. It was something that doing a live album, we had to be careful with who we got to mix and master the tracks, because it was such a raw recording. We captured good sound, but what you do with it then is what sorts it out in being something that's classed as a live album and something that is a live album. So I think when we thought about Harris, we knew him from his work with bands like he did Creator, he's done Sodom, he did Hobbs Angel of Death from our country as well, and we saw the rawness and energy of his work, and that's why we chose and approached him, and he was really into the project. We sent him some files over, and from day one he was on board. So it was really cool to work with him, and he's a great guy. We actually met him. He came to Australia to work with another band just earlier this year, and we went out. Took him out to some pubs and had some beer, and it was good to meet him finally as well, face to face as opposed to email.
So I think also the thrash fans are also looking for that type of recording, right?
Yeah, I think that with our genre, it gets that throwback to that honest type of recording. I think like different styles expect different things from their bands, you know, different fans expect different things, and I think the thrash fans, they're really an honest crowd. They really want what they see, you know, so that was an important thing for us, you know.
Okay, so we'd like to know about this poster we have here.
Yeah, that one, that's an old one.
Yeah,
that's from a long time ago. Yeah,
it's actually more on the art house, right, and Gwen final, and you were able to play with Guild of Destruction, Maniac, so is it like a competition or something? No,
that was just a gig that we organised. The Art House is where we recorded our album, which is a very famous Melbourne venue. A lot of international bands and a lot of Australian bands. It's not by any means the biggest venue in Melbourne, and it's not a high production venue. It was quite a punk type of environment, but it was something that everybody owned. Everyone felt like they were part of that venue. So for us, playing there was a real kind of, it had community, you know. It was a really good feeling playing there. And shows like that, I mean, we played a number of shows there before it closed, including the one that we recorded our album off. And yeah, that was why we always went there, because it was such a good, like, honest, rough, sweaty stinky venue, you know, which is what we look for.
A DIY thing is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, DIY suits us. I'd rather be playing to a small venue with kids hanging off the rafters than a big venue with them all standing there politely, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we like the involvement. We like the, you know, we like that.
So you had an EP in 2010,
Yep.
and now you're doing tour on your latest album.
Yep.
At the same time, do you write songs for new material?
Yeah, we actually were lucky enough to, while we were in the Philippines with the off days, we got a day in the studio as well, and we recorded a new song, which is a really exciting thing for us because we have been working on a lot of new material. It's always hard to balance touring and writing. Like in my brain, they are different sides, but I think the excitement and the energy that comes from being on the road, it breeds creativity. Like, you know, the real life is left behind. So creative life is all you have here, and drunk life. But
especially in the Philippines, right? Soaked with a lot of beer.
Yeah, a lot of beer. Yeah, it's more expensive to drink here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you drink water.
So, is your new album gonna be still live?
No, I think this album, we need to have a progression. Like, I think every band has to have a progression album to album. You know, you can't ever just stay stagnant. To us, our first album being live was something that we needed to do to get that honesty out there and to say this is what we're all about, you know, because we're a touring band. It's all we've ever done. Ever since we started, we've done countless shows on the road. So we needed to get that out, but I think now we need to raise to the next step. We still need that integrity, we still need that honesty and integrity, but we need it with studio production because that's what people expect of an album. So we need to meet that expectation. I don't know how the fuck we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it.
Okay, so metal fans, you better watch out for that stuff. So, how do you guys meet and decided to form this band?
Well, back in about 2008, I happened to be in Europe, attending a lot of festivals, and I started to get the idea of this project. And I came back to Melbourne, and just through a network of musicians, as I was writing songs, I found the guys. I found, you know, a drummer, because I needed a drummer to work with. That's the way the songs normally start, with the drum and the guitar, and we work out the arrangement, and then we add the bass, and then finally came in Luke on lead guitar. So it was really just this natural environment of, I had a project that I wanted to do, so I found the best guys that I could to come in and do it, but there was never a thought of, you have to join my band. It was just I've got these songs, come in, join me, play them, and then naturally it evolved into what it is now, and everyone kind of said, fuck yeah, let's do this, you know.
So, you knew, like, I was gonna ask, so they said Thrash is dead, and it's fucking tombstone.
Yeah.
So can you guys elaborate that thing?
That was something that we used to say at gigs, and it was more, it's not that Thrash is dead, but it's to all the people who say Thrash is back. I got a problem with this whole new wave of Thrash is back, because that implies it was dead. That implies that it wasn't happening, but it never stopped. Thrash is thrash. It always happened all the way through, from the 80s all the way through. It changed. It goes through ebb and flow, but there's independent bands out there thrashing all the way through, and there's these, everyone's getting drunk and listening to Rain in Blood. That never stopped, you know. So thrash never died. So how can you say thrash is back? So my sentiment was, and I think I said it at a gig first. We're up on stage and I just blurted it out, and then no one let me forget it. Is that if thrash is dead, then we're a tombstone, because we're never going to let it die. We're there with it, no matter what, you know. It's kind of a commitment.
So for you guys who are saying thrash is dead, here's one example of this.
Thrash isn't dead. Yeah. Thrash is dead, you will never hit the thrash in the first place.
So what are your influences? Can you describe your type of thrash?
I think for us, we're a bit of a mix. We get a lot of Bay Area comparison, like a lot of the 80s Bay Area thing, with bands like Aeternus Metallum, Slayer, you know, all that type of stuff, and even the other coast, like Anthrax and all that type of stuff. And those were the bands we all grew up on, so I think that's definitely in there. But we like a lot of the European, like, you know, Creator, Sodom, Destruction, a lot of those bands, you know, I think it all creeps in. So for our style, I leave it as thrash, not a non-specific thing. We're not crossover, we just play what we play because we love what we do, you know?
It's basically a mixture of
stuff that we all love were growing up on. Like every thrash head CD collection is probably my CD collection, you know. So yeah, I mean other things. I don't like to sound too narrow-minded because other things creep in. I do like other styles of metal, other styles of music. You know, to be too fixed vision is the limit of what you can do in your life. But that's just what feels right for us, you know.
You always have this comfort zone.
Yeah, the comfort zone is playing too fast, too many notes for too long. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so do you have any plans for international tour for your fans?
We're here internationally.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Aside from Asia.
Yeah, we do. At the moment, we're going to finish off this tour, and then we need to get back to Australia and really focus on material because we've been touring this album since we released it last year. Later in the year, we have a couple of national tours. We're on some national Australian festival dates we have to do. But then next year, there's full steam ahead. We've got some exciting plans towards some other big continents, which I can't announce yet.
Okay,
but thrash fans, look out because we do have some exciting plans. We're going to be leaving our shore.
Okay, so you played alongside with thrash greats like Mortal Sin, Forbidden, Hobbs, Angel of Death, just to name a few. So do they give any advice to you guys?
I think always playing with older bands, more established bands like Mortal Sin. I mean, they're known. It's like the premier name in Australian metal, and so it's the same with Hobbs, you know. But playing with, you know, we supported Toxic Holocaust earlier this year. We're playing with Warbringer later this year. We've got the Forbidden thing. Playing with these guys who are at different rungs up the ladder than us is definitely. It's not only inspiring, but it's good to analyse what they've done, especially the older guys who have kind of gone through the peak of thrash in the 80s, where it was basically like thrash was almost mainstream metal. Like they had the glory period, then they had the die out of kind of when it went back to underground and existed back on a small club level, and then they've come back up. Like to learn from that and to learn from the guys who have seen the road through, like ridden the wave up, down and back up again, is always something good for you to know. If you play for the right reasons and you do it with integrity, it doesn't matter how many or who you're doing it to, because the center point of the music and the fans never changes, you know, and that's an important thing. So
so what album or metal songs make you want to make a thrash band?
What album or songs?
So how do you start becoming a metalhead anyway?
Rain in Blood and Ride the Lightning. Tell me that you can't get drunk and listen to those two albums no matter who or where you are. That sums up life, you know. But I think for me personally, the moment when I was speaking earlier about being in Europe at festivals, I watched Death Angel on one of their first tours back, and Overkill on that same tour, and it was like a light bulb just bing. This is like what you should be doing, you know. So yeah, those two bands are very pivotal in what Desecrator currently are doing, because that was what kind of lit the fire, you know. So
how is the Australian metal scene?
Australian metal scene is really healthy at the moment. I mean, the hard thing about Australia is always going to be we have this huge country with this uninhabitable bit in the middle. So to travel city to city is a big drive, you know. So the communities are far apart, and it's not the easiest thing to tour, because planes and logistics are costly, and driving from Melbourne to Sydney takes 9 hours if you want to do it, you know. It's the same with any other state. But in places like Melbourne, like Sydney, like Perth, there's great bands playing at the moment, a really healthy scene. Just before we left, we did a show with Hobbs, Angel of Death. I think Macabre from America were on it, and a bunch of bands, and it was a great show. Big venues, big crowds, and everyone's really there together. It's a really supported scene. So in Australia right now, I think it's a really healthy thing, and it's something to be really proud of. Every time we get up there, we feel really proud to be a band as part of that, and to feel these people as our community, you know.
Any thrash metal bands from Australia that you can recommend here?
Yeah, for sure. There's heaps. I mean, I don't know where to stop, but there's one in particular, if you haven't checked out, In Malice's Wake. They're touring brothers of ours, and they're fantastic thrash metal, A-grade international. They haven't made it out of Australia yet, but once they do, the world's just they can hit the world by storm, because they're very, very good. There's heaps of crossover stuff too. I mean, the amount of bands I could talk about, but definitely check out in Malice's wake.
They have MySpace, right?
Everyone got MySpace.
Yeah.
Band or not got MySpace.
So this is my the most awaited question that I want to ask.
All right.
Do you do weed and alcohol?
Weed and alcohol. Is that like an Australian stereotype?
I know, basically for
Don't judge me.
No, I'm not being judgmental here. Okay?
No, look, no. No, we don't do drugs. Look, drugs slow you down. Thrash is too fast to do drugs. You know, we're sometimes on the road, maybe a drug habit would help, and maybe that's why musicians do it. But for us, no. I mean, we've got one straight edge guy in the band, and a couple of vegetarians. We're pretty clean living. But to the beer side of it, you know, this is what, the 9th day of our tour, and I haven't been sober since I left Melbourne. So I think drink till death is the motto. Drink till death, thrash till death.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Alcohol, but no weed.
Nah, no drugs.
Okay, so do you think downloading is killing bands? Like,
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think downloading, yes, it takes the small amount of a pittance of a royalty that a band would earn off a record label, because a record label is always going to take the lion's share of a recording, no matter who you are, you know, because they put everything in, so they take everything out, and the artist just always gets the little crumb. And that takes away the crumb to a degree, because the label's always still going to want to make whatever they can. But the other side of it is downloading happens because the internet links people up to new music they haven't heard before in a way that couldn't happen. I mean, metal used to rely on tape trading and all those type of things that kept the community alive and kept bands international. So on a much larger scale, this is that same ethic of new people finding new music, discovering bands, and then committing to these bands. And whether they take a song for free but then buy a t-shirt because they want to represent it, or whether they do something, it's still a roundabout way of supporting and keeping a band alive. I think mainstream music like pop music and rock music, they'd be hurt because they were in it for money anyway. There's no money in thrash, there's lifestyle in thrash, there's community. So the community's there, the lifestyle's there. So I don't think downloading is going to be the make or break of a band like us. But definitely people who support and buy our product, buy our CDs and buy our shows, that's what gives us the money to do tours like the one we're on now. So support is important, but I don't think downloading takes away support. I think metal bands will still support. Like for example, we're in the first show on this tour, we're in Bali, and there's this young metalhead who came backstage, and he'd just gone out. He'd gone home or he'd gone somewhere and gone to get us because he didn't know if we'd eaten or not. He couldn't afford to buy our shirt, he couldn't afford to buy our CD or do anything. He'd spent everything on the gig, or he'd gotten in for free and snuck in or whatever, but he could get his mum to cook us food. So he brought us food, and that to us was like, fuck yeah, you know, that's support. That was, he did what he could to say he appreciated us being there and to offer something to us, and that's really humbling that someone would go to that effort and then go and headbang until they broke their neck on the gig, you know, like that's really cool. So I think as long as the support is there in music, then things like the internet and downloading, they may hurt certain aspects, but it will always flow, it'll change, you know. And I think that movement is the key to success.
So downloaders out there, don't worry, you don't think that you're stealing their music.
Except when you steal our music.
So
Now they're going to attack my bugs, check that one out.
Steal it, please.
You got flying ants here too, your cockroaches fly, your ants fly. Wow, it's brutal.
We eat those stuff. Any strange or funny experience while doing the tour?
I don't know. I don't know where to start and what I could tell your viewers without getting in trouble. But yeah, every place. I think the coolest thing for us has been turning up and finding every different venue, because every country has a different way their scene works and a way their scene exists. Like some are in the middle of cities, some are out of the city, some are kept behind closed doors. Like it's still a bit, you know, a bit funny to do metal. So turning up to all these different venues in all these different places, like some down dirt tracks, some on main roads. It's a really interesting thing, and just trying to every show in every different country, because we do one show, one country. Every different airport, every different customs, every different try and find the vegetarians food, every different try and stay sober. Can we drink on the street? Can we? It's crazy. Like it really starts to spin you out. We got a different currency every day. Like, you know, you start to think all of a sudden I'm in Singapore, but I'm still on Filipino currency. It's been cool. It's been fun, but head fuck. Yeah.
So other than desecrating,
Yeah.
what's your full-time job? What
Full-time
other-
job? I work in a music shop. Yeah, my job is I manage a guitar shop. I sell guitars for a living, so fairly musically connected. I think all of us, most of us either teach an instrument or work something to do with music, because when you need to tour as much as we do, you need something flexible. You know, you need something that's going to support you and a boss who's going to understand you're leaving. You know, because we don't do this at a point where we can have no job. You know, bass player Mano's the most qualified. He crashes cars for a living. But that's a different story.
I want to try that one.
Yeah.
So best thrash band released for this year?
Best thrash band release. Wow.
It's something for you to think about.
Yeah. I'll get back to you. I'll reshoot this in a few days. No, I liked Overkill Electric Rattlesnake is a killer release. What else came out this year? I'm losing track of my years. I'm gonna go with Overkill. Bobby Blitz is a legend. How can a man, he's like over 50, he's still ripped and cut, he smokes a pack of Marlboro Reds a day and sings like that.
Can you
Crazy.
try to imitate him?
No.
Sing like a few lines or something?
No, but I think you should. Come on.
Not me, I think it's you. I'm doing the interview here.
Huh?
Come on.
Guys, I know you want to see this, so
Come to the
how about
show.
Leonard?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check out that.
Yeah.
So, Aeternus Metallum would like to thank you for doing this interview.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Basically, that's
Yeah.
about it.
Cool.
And since Singapore is your last stop, do you have anything to say on all your Southeast Asian fans? Can you look at the camp, please?
Southeast Asia till death, guys. It's been a fucking great trip. You've all treated us so well. You've got a place in our hearts, and we will definitely be back. Every place we have played and every surrounding place we did not, we will cover next time. It's going to grow, and you're going to be with us. Thrash till death, fuckers. Metal or die. It's up there.
To the